Hello everybody, thanks for watching my channel. This video is on negative talk. Everybody says, well, you need to be positive and say positive things and not say negative things. Well, I'm going to tell you why negative talk is so dangerous. Everybody thinks it's dangerous in a way, but you ignore it. You don't really think much about it, and people say things like, I'm broke, I can't make it, I lost my job, I got bad credit, I can't get anything, I have no money, I can't get any money, things are going bad, it's terrible. They just ramble on about everything negative, when in reality it needs to be reframed that I have money coming in, I'm working on things. Really can't be saying things like I can't do this, it's not happening, this isn't working, on and on and on. Now, studies have shown that when you say things out loud, it's 10 times more powerful, and also studies have been shown that negativity is 4 to 7 times a compound factor even when you say it out loud. So it's actually 40 to 70 times more powerful when you say the negative outcome or prediction that you do not want to happen out loud. That's 40 to 70% more likely to happen. Now, is it magic? Is it the secret? Is it reality? Well, you're basically opening up your subconscious to allow things to happen, and you're basically calling on, well, the devil to curse you and to fulfill the negativity, because he hears things in the life, in the world, everything is connected together, and there is good and evil, and there is God and the devil. That's how reality is, and that's how things work. Now, every video you see out here, maybe you hear people say, well, don't say negative things, or maybe they don't, but in reality you want to avoid that. Even if you just not say negative things out loud, well, that's going to allow you to succeed in life just by not saying them. This, basically, I got this information from the book that It Takes What It Takes by Trevor Moawad, and I'm just adding some extra things to it. But he's spot on and right on the money, and this topic is so critical important that if you just do this one thing alone, it'll change your life, not counting all the other things, not counting another video I'll do on like the negative people. Like if you're around like narcissists, sociopaths, or psychopaths, you know, and those are your typical scammers, and how to find them, or your bad girlfriends or boyfriends that ruin your lives and all these things. If you can see the red flags ahead of time, will help you avoid that. But this video here is on strictly negative talk and how powerful it is and how much it can damage your life. Because me just saying it, you think, oh well, that's just somebody's opinion, but I'm going to show you reality of how bad and how dangerous it really is. It's truly life or death. So we'll go through some examples here. First one is this guy Bill Buckner from the 1986 World Series Game 6. In an interview 19 days before the interview, he said that basically he predicted that he would hate to lose the winning game by letting the ground ball go through his legs. This is 19 days before the World Series happened. And what happened in the 1986 World Series? It happened. That is one example. He predicted his own self-destruction and his loss by saying that in the interview. The interview, see if I can find it. It has been on the internet, but it's not on the internet, so I can't really find it. Anyways, I'm going to go through a list of different things regarding people's manifestation and prophecy of things that they have said, so you get this idea of what's really going on. 6 creepy cases of people that predicted their own deaths. This guy named Arnold Schoenberg, I mean, there's so many, you're gonna just not gonna say anything negative when I'm done, because you're gonna realize you don't want to do this and bring it on yourself. This guy said that it seems throughout history, this guy was saying in life, okay, he was a talented painter. He was born on September 13th. He hated 13 so much that every time he had a birthday, he freaked out and had super anxiety about it. So all the times from Friday the 13th to July 13th, he had a problem. And then what ultimately happened was on July 13th, when he was 76 years old, he was thinking, well, 7 plus 6 equals 13, that this guy got so sick and he literally died. This caused him to die. He basically convinced himself to die. Mark Twain basically said the same thing, except he said he was born basically when Halley's Comet in 1835 happened, and he said he's going to go out when Halley's Comet comes back. So on April 20th, 1910, Halley's Comet made its next appearance, and a day later, Mark Twain died of a heart attack. Abraham de Mourier, he was an artist way back when, and he had gotten sick or tired of life and had a bit of fatigue, and he kept oversleeping 15 minutes. And he said, this was like weeks before, he said that, well, the time that I oversleep by 15 minutes, that adds up to 24 hours, I'm going to die. What happened? He died. Abraham Lincoln, he said that he had a dream, a premonition of being shot and people gathering around a corpse and everything in a theater. And he repeated that. And then what happened? He actually was killed that way. Pete Maravich, NBA player, 1974. He said, I don't want to be playing the NBA for 10 years and die of a heart attack at 40. He did end up playing pro ball for 10 years, and sadly, on January 5th, 1988, he died of a heart attack failure at age 40. Mikey Welsh, he had a dream in Chicago on the weekend. That he said that the dream that he'll have a heart attack in his sleep a week, 2 weeks after his last heart attack, he will die. That was man, I killed that. Basically, he dreamt he died, and then after the next heart attack in his sleep, he said, I need to write my will today. That was a former Weezer bassist, Micah Weezy, tweeted on September 26, 2011. On Saturday, October 8th, he was found unconscious in Chicago hotel room. The authorities suspected narcotics role in his death, but there was nothing proven. Anyways, he predicted his own death. Now, that's just 6 of them. You think, oh, well, that's only 6 people. It's not a big deal. Here's a good one. This guy, this is probably a really good key thing. This idiot got stuck in a freezer, got locked in it because he was trying to repair it, I guess. And when he fell into the freezer, somehow there was paper and he had a pen because he was working on this shit. So he gets locked in it and he starts writing letters because he can't get out of the freezer. He writes all these letters that I'm beginning to freeze. When they found him dead, not only did he find the letters and discover they found the letters, and then the last letter he wrote was that I think this may be my last letter. When they checked the freezer's temperature, the thermostat didn't work and it was only 50 degrees. And this guy, moron, spoke this and convinced himself to die. I mean, this is how powerful your negativity is. Let's see. 10 more famous people that predicted their own death. Worry winner on Mark Twain, that's big time. Jimi Hendrix did the same thing. The Ballad of Jimmy in 1965. Shockingly, Jimmy passed away 5 years later due to asphyxiation. The song finished with the following lyrics. Many things I will try, soon I will die. Jimmy's gone, he's alone, not a memory, still 5 years later, he's gone dead. That's close to it. Bob Marley, considered a prophet among prophets, he died. He replied that he's going to die the same age that Jesus lived until the 36th year. That's funny. He thought he lived to 36. Jesus actually lived to be 33, but he said 36, so he died at 36, even though Jesus died at age 33. Strange. Where you go? Went over this guy about oversleeping. Abraham Lincoln, Arnold Schwarzer, pain influenced by music. This guy was afraid of the 13. That's 15 minutes. The number 13. And Mikey Welsh, former, okay, went over that one. I mean, there's tons of them. This is crazy. Here's 25 of them that predicted their own death. 25 people because of words out of their mouth, negativity. Now, all the negativity you say that's not regarding death, did you say this and that is having all these consequences on your life by like 1,000%, and you don't realize it. But now this is manageable, and you can see where it's affected them. So you got to understand that the negativity and all the negativity you have is having a huge impact on you. I'm just going to go through these. Patsy Cline, Tenacious, whoever this, Mark Twain, we did that. This guy named Dola, American rapper. Of course, he does negative all the time. John Denver. Who else? I mean, it goes on and on. There's 25 people predicting their deaths. Now, what you have to do is control your thoughts, reformat them, and allow yourself not to be talking about the negative and the worst outcome. By doing that, you're eliminating these things to happen. This guy, Neville Goddard, he says, basically, he goes through the Bible and says, well, yeah, the whole thing, if you're saying these words, you're cursing yourself, and that's what's going to happen. Anyways, just like the Bible says, truly I tell you, Jesus said, if you have faith and no doubt, not only will you do what was done to the fig tree, but even if you say this mountain be lifted up and thrown into the sea, it will happen. Basically, everything is about words and what you say. It's very important. Negative thoughts. So you get negative thoughts, negative expectations. So how do you do that? Well, you gotta reformat your words. If it's negative, you're broke. You say, I'm working on it, I'm getting money, and you focus on it. Things. Now, if you change your behavior with all these stuff, you will be able to change your past and not allow the past predict your future. This here is Trevor Morad. I'm going to let him talk about this.
There is no lead that's safe. The fuck, why are you saying that? You know, and you're almost predicting that that's going to happen. Now, ultimately, not saying stupid things out loud is, you have to create an alternative. So I started thinking about a car. If a car's going backwards, it can't automatically go forward. So it has to shift into neutral, and then it stops. Then at that point, you can either go forward by changing your behavior, or you can go backwards by doing the same stupid shit you were just doing. Neutral is truth-based thinking. What's the truth? Okay? In 2010, you're running a data loss company, right? You've been doing it for 8 years. You graduated from USC Film. That's not what you want to do. You're 60 pounds overweight. You lose your weight. You find two buddies, and you say, hey, man, we're going to go into my kitchen. We're going to find a way to create a product that's going to be different than anything anybody knows. Well, I'm educated in this because I partnered with Gatorade Sports Science Institute at IMG, and and you created a value proposition that ultimately, based upon, you didn't let your past predict your future. You used your past was real, but I want to do something different. So
this is a really interesting part of what you say, that the past isn't predictive.
Correct.
So talk to me more about that, because I would say most people would say that the past is definitely predictive.
Right, which is great, but they'd be wrong. Right? So they would be wrong, and the simple fact of the matter is the past is real. Okay? So The only thing that makes it predictive is if my behavior stays the same. So I'll give you a great story. So we both grew up in Tacoma, and there used to be a thing called Toastmasters. I don't know if you remember Toastmasters, but Toastmasters was a local, regional, and a national speaking group for anybody that wanted to get better at speaking. Well, my dad had gone to a Toastmasters early on and heard one of the most successful magazine entrepreneurs in the world speak. He comes back and tells me, I just had a chance to hear one of the most successful magazine entrepreneurs in the world speak. And he said, when are you taking your SAT? I said, I'm taking it next year. He said, well, this guy was failing out of high school. He was struggling. He was raised by a single mom in the Midwest, but he promised his mother he would take a test called the SAT. So he takes the SAT in May, his junior year, doesn't expect anything, gets his score back in June. Now the SAT, which I don't know how many your population know, but it's a standardized test with a math part and a verbal part. Both are scored out of 800 points. Well, this guy takes it. He's bombing. He's failing out of school. He doesn't expect anything as he's telling the story at Toastmasters. Well, he gets a 1480 out of 1600. So he's stunned, right? That would be for the smart people that listen to your podcast.
Insane, yeah.
Right, cognitive dissonance.
I
right?
got a 900 on my SATs just to give people a frame.
Right, and I got a
990, excuse me.
And I got a 1010, right? I was just, hey, 4 digits. It was a miracle, right? But it's a hard test, and you know it's a variety of different things. So he gets the score, and his mother, doing what any mother would do, knowing her kid, says, "Did you cheat?" Right? She knows her son, and he said, "I swear to God, I tried to cheat, but the way the numbers were and the scantrons and the bubbles, you couldn't cheat." So she says, "You mean to tell me you really got that score?" He said, "Yeah, I got the score." So he's stunned, Tom. So as my dad's telling me the story, I'm like, okay. So he says, all right. So what he decides is, because he realizes he's smart and he's going into his senior year, he says, I'm going to go to class. Now he starts to go to class. He doesn't hang out with who he did when he didn't go to class. All right? Teachers see him in class and they said, hey, maybe Franklin Pierce, maybe we missed the boat on this kid. So they start to treat him differently. Well, as the guy would tell the story, he graduates, goes to a community college, goes on to Wichita State, goes on to the Ivy League, and becomes this massively successful magazine entrepreneur. So I said, okay, well, the guy was always smart. He just needed a standardized test to unlock it. My dad said, no, that's not the story. This is what I want you to understand. He said, 12 years after all this guy's success, he gets a letter in the mail from Princeton, New Jersey. Doesn't think anything about it. The next day, his wife says, you're going to open it. He opens it. True story, turns out the SAT board will periodically review their test-taking procedures and the policies. The year he took the test, he was one of 13 people sent the wrong SAT score. His actual score was a 740 out of 1600. And he said, people think my whole life changed when I got the 1480. But what happened? My whole life changed when I started acting like a 1480. And what does a 1480 do? He goes to class. Well, this is one of the first stories I would share when I had my opportunity at Alabama or Florida State or Georgia. So A, your language is powerful, but number two, your behavior is way ahead of your success. And so many people let their feelings dictate what they do as opposed to throw your behavior out there. Russell Wilson's 5'10". He shouldn't be playing pro football, but he behaves like the best quarterback in the country, and he's done that since before he was at that level. And then his feelings and emotions and his skill caught up to that behavior. I think the lesson my dad was trying to teach me ultimately was, in addition to my language, what I do, not how I feel about my past, is going to determine who I am in the future. And that's what I think neutral thinking is. And I think neutral thinking isn't just thinking. I think it's behavior, and I think it's language. And so your behavior is what's going to change you. But you also have to start by asking yourself, what do I want, and why do I want it? Why don't I have it? You know, what am I willing to do to get it? And I do think, in terms of listening to one of your earlier podcasts, I do think there's value in writing things down.
So, there you go. These are great examples. The power of negative thought and all these things, and changing your behavior and your language. Language is so critical to being successful. When you can manage your language, and if you use mantras, saying you're going to be successful, affirmations, and all these things, and well, you eliminate the people in your life that are negative, as in the narcissist, the sociopath, or the psychopath, which that stress alone is going to cause disease, shortness of life, causes a lot of people to have suicide. If you're a single person, you're looking to date somebody and they're a widow, you need to find out why their spouse died. And I would say most of the time is because they are a narcissist and they committed suicide. Now, that's not all the time, but it's a lot of the time. And or that stress caused them a lot of disease and allowed them to be susceptible to cancer and these things like that. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. If you're a single person, you don't really have time to take chances and screen and take a risk like this. Now, if it's a widow and she's gotten 2 husbands died, maybe one's a car wreck, maybe one's cancer, that still leads to the narcissist, because if you're with the narcissist, a person that's selfish and basically evil and doesn't care, the thoughts and emotionless desire to cause chaos and conflict in other person's life causes a person to be more careless and take more risks driving, riding motorcycles, or other things. Not always, but I'm saying that's a good rule of thumb. And I guess maybe I'll just do this video here now because we're all together and we'll go over it. The narcissist is it is all encompassing the sociopath and the psychopath. They are all narcissists, but the narcissist is the key factor. The psychopath has a traumatic injury in their life, and it's genetic in appearance and has to do with physical disorder in the brain or whatever. Now, the sociopath is environmental, and the narcissist can be from environmental, the way they're raised. So if they're out and selfish and doing things, they're going to say whatever you want to hear, and they're going to take your money and disappear. Now, the one way to find out who is and who isn't ahead of time, I mean, if you're a single person you're dating, you'd find out, well, are they a widow, or what happened to the last ex? That's a really good key trait. But I mean, other factors are, I mean, they do not ever take responsibility for anything. They lie constantly, and their whole goal is they're just parasites and they're users. They're basically demon-possessed people, if you want to really look at the big picture. And that causes a lot of people to lose a lot of money. They're not going to ever take responsibility. They just, that's just how things are. But if you try and avoid the people and the negative talk, it's going to open up the door for a lot of things to happen in your life. So you don't want to bring curses on yourself by saying all these negative things and fulfilling these things. So I decided to do this video because that plus people with super low energy and that negativity and their tone and the way they speak, you could just predict they're going nowhere and they're going to bring you down. And when they have that tone and that negativity, if you're around them, I mean, you need to run. So these are key things you need to focus on and then benefit your life to other things. If you want to adapt yourself to successful behavior, you eliminate the negative talk and, well, you make the plan, all this stuff. But the last key to success is, like, you write out what you want to do this, and you do the self-fulfilling prophecy. You write down everything that's possible, and then you take the actions. But the problem is with people, they take too much actions on the wrong things, and they do things that aren't going to add up. So if you want to do multiple businesses at the same time, you're going to strategically make your day 100% effective for that time that you're doing it, and then you're going to balance your day on other things and other priorities. So if you're working out, you got to have your energy pills. You're going to make the right diet, and you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to take the energy pills, get the energy. If you're fat, you're going to spend 15-20 minutes as hard as you can for 15-20 minutes, like explosive bursts of energy, burn off the fat, and then you're going to do the same thing at night. If you do 15 minutes morning, 15 minutes at night, boom, you're going to make progress. And you're going to see a little bit of progress, and then you're going to make more, and you're going to more, and you're going to get in better shape, and you're going to look good, and you're going to lose weight, and then you're going to change your whole habit. Now, same with success. Now, if you're going to do, like, say you want to get into the medical mask thing, the way you do this is you're going to be in front of people. That means you would have to get on the phone and physically call for 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe you're going to call like 20, but the longer you're on the phone with the key potential people with the money and the people to close your deals, the more is going to happen. But a lot of people in business, they get sidetracked and think, well, all the scammers say, well, you got to buy a corporation, you got to buy all these trade lines, you got to buy all this bullshit, and you got to do this, and the baby credit cards, and they got you going all these other directions, and you never get from point A to point B. It's just about them guiding you down their path, not the real path. The difference between who's real and who's not real is the fruit, the results. I mean, you got to see results and you got to make results, but it takes all this combination of everything added together to get to the end product. So if you do that, eliminate the negativity, eliminate your negative words, eliminate the negative people, and you refocus on your behavior, and you streamline how you're going to effectively do things, predict your future, write it all out, then the future will change. So that's the key to this video. If you have negative thoughts, reformat them, but whatever you do, no matter what, do not be bringing them out loud and saying these things. So that's the key. And I was just going to make this video so people realize that, because I hear this all the time. And definitely not be saying it about your kids or other things. So there you go. That's a little helpful hint. Okay, have a good night. Talk to you guys later. This is a good video. I don't know if you've seen this, but the power of words on water. Now, this is a good time to show this. Check it out.
Dr. Emoto's experiment in the power of words. This experiment was completed with the same water we drink, the same water that our bodies require to stay alive. Around 70% of your body is composed of water, very similar to the earth. Love. Thank you. Love and appreciation. Happiness. Truth. When a person says a single word, their energy while saying that word is passed to you. If the person's energy was negative, then you're probably going to be affected by the person's words, since the water in your body will absorb this energy. You make me sick, I will kill you. Adolf Hitler. Peace. Music played, Beethoven's Pastoral. Amazing Grace. Each word can trigger a certain emotion. If someone said something negative to you, then your emotions might change right away. On the other hand, could words make someone fall in love? Demon. After exposure to a child. Anger. Why is water that has been blessed with positive words used in exorcisms? Ever wondered if there is a deeper reason as to why life on earth needs water? Could there be a connection with the way we control ourselves, protect ourselves from evil? Ever been able to tell, just by looking at someone, they are a positive, spiritual person, or vice versa? Could it be that water is a physical representation of our spiritual selves? A way to stay connected to the source? Could it be possible that our bodies require water to protect us and maintain us to a certain frequency? The frequency that we decide by the words that surround us? Ever wonder?
Well, that was a good video. So, now, back on the topic of words and negative words. The worst thing I ever like hearing, or I can't stand hearing, I got to tell people, I'm leaving the room, I'm not talking to them, or I'm hanging up, is when they say God's name in vain. That drives me crazy. I actually want to punch them in the face. I got in a lot of fights over that. Just saying. You'd think that's, in the Bible, you'd think that'd be the absolute worst thing in the world. Well, the worst thing is saying Jesus was magic and attributed to, from the devil, and denying that. So that is the worst thing. I would say that's probably the second worst thing. But words are powerful, super powerful. Negative words are even more powerful, and the studies have shown by researching the data, from Harvard and this lady named Christine Borath. I mean, like, the negative words are like 4 to 7 times more powerful, and when it's said out loud, I mean, that compound of 4 to 7 times more puts it at 40 to 70% stronger power than words not even said. So you're really bringing curses on yourself and your situation and things, the way you're living and how things are. So there you go. That is a key to getting yourself on the right track. All right, I had to show that last video because that was a really good one. The way that video was done, because it looks like it's all fake, but because you don't know what they did is the way they did this. They put the
thoughts and
words with rice.
our deeds, everything are.
Well, they put the words on the bottles like this, but they just water and they froze it. That's how they did. That's how they got the shapes. I mean, this is an old experiment. I'm sure everybody's seen this before. That's how they got it to crystallize, and they studied it. There's also experiments where I learned this back in school and college, where like people in a laboratory on one side of the earth compared to people in another part of the earth prayed about experiment A and experiment B, and the ones that were always prayed for did better. Like the plants grew 10 times more than the plants that weren't. I mean, these are all proven. I mean, if you don't believe in God, you're really missing out, because, well, it's the fact, it's reality. Also, the world's flat. I don't care what you say. You can't prove it. It's not flat. And people that go crazy and think I'm crazy, no, it's not. It's in the Bible like over 100 times. And also, science, if science is science, it is a law, because an experiment can be replicated. And, well, I would love to see somebody, and I'll wait to find a spinning ball that water sticks to. Well, it doesn't. So, I hate to tell you, that's reality. The world's flat. And this whole thing, this whole world is really a spiritual war. So, and it boils down to you doing your part and your words. And that's going to help you get in a better position for success and blessings and finances. But yeah, these were the words taped to the glass and then frozen, and then that's what got these beautiful shapes. All because of the words. It's pretty cool. I mean, how powerful are the words? Terrible. I cuss all the time. I try not to, but sometimes you got to. I guess you need to work on that. I need to work on that, but that's just reality. So there you go. Okay, thanks for watching this video. You made it to the end. That's great. Let me know if I can help you. My number is 312-473-4163. Thanks a lot.